Good evening and welcome to the October 8th, 2024 meeting of the Spack Hill Union Free School District Board of Education. I'd ask that you rise and join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Item 2.01 is public comments on consent agenda items. Do we have any public comment on consent agenda items? Okay, any board comments or questions on any items on the consent agenda? Anything we need to pull?
I don't.
I had one question, I guess, about the policy. Which one is it? Sorry. It's, policies 0100, the non-discrimination and equal opportunity policy. Just a question about the wording. I know it's the first reading of that policy. The first paragraph of the policy, and this is, I guess, just a question about clarification from my side. From my side, it says that no discrimination based on a variety of things, and then it leads up to use of a guide dog, hearing dog, or service dog, or other legally protected class is applicable. So I'm wondering if, because these days it's not uncommon to find service animals of various kinds, so I'm wondering if other animals are included, or is it just dog?
I don't know that.
Yeah, I'm not
That's a
sure.
good question.
No, we'd have to go back and
Yeah.
ask. No,
Okay,
I'm
but
not sure.
that's, we can,
I mean, it's a small point perhaps, but,
Yeah,
you know, it just struck me as,
yeah, sure.
Pull that
I
one.
mean, I've seen service animals of all sorts these
Yeah,
days.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's because probably the most common.
Yeah, yeah,
We'll find out.
Yeah, so it's a small point, but.
You want to pull or table that one then?
Well, we still have to have a second reading of it, so.
Yeah, it's just a first read, right? So you,
Does that start over another reading, first reading?
No, because this would be where this is why we have the first reading, right?
Very cool.
To have that.
we're not approving it, right?
We're not approving it, but we could address it next board meeting, and if it's agreed upon, then we could approve it, or we then could, if not, we could wait have another reading, but this is actually a good example of why we have first reading.
Anything else?
That's it, that's all I.
Yeah.
Okay, with that being said, I'll ask for a motion to accept the consent agenda as written.
Make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, passes 3-0. Okay, that brings us to our discussions and presentation, 8.01, our elementary administration update. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for having us. So, lots of things to come in the elementary world as we head into kind of the end of October and the excitement around Halloween. But we do have quite a few things going on currently. Recess Explorers is something that Mrs. Skorlick runs through our STEM lab. 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade students twice a week in a 5-day cycle get to go and kind of operate on a project-based learning environment, and we mixed it up a little bit this year. Kids had to sign up, and they're committed to kind of a 6-week project. So she was just telling me today she has a bunch of students really, really excited about the project that they're working on. We have kids doing sewing, 3D printing, green screen animation, coding. So it's a nice offshoot and something that they can look forward to twice a week out of that cycle, instead of, always going outside, which we want them to go outside, we want them to run around, but some kids really enjoy that hands-on experience. So they can dabble in both, which is really nice, and it's a great opportunity for students to kind of express their strengths. Connected to that, our OM teams have been formed, and they're super excited to get started. So that should be coming, and I'll show you pictures and share their successes as we get through. We did have our book fair this week. Always awesome to see the kids go in and get excited about books and reading. So that was really well done by the PTA, thanks to them. We do have a bunch of things, like I said, coming up. Our Arlington Fire Department does our fire safety prevention. Actually, I think the board walked through one time, and they had the fire truck there. So that will be coming on October 18th. The day after that is the annual trunk or treat at Hagen, and the PTA always puts on a great show there. I think the fire department's actually coming back, and they'll be handing out candy as well there that night. We do have our recess rodeo coming up on October 31st. So on Halloween, what we do in the morning is we split the classes or the grade levels up, and they go to Peaceful Playground. The gym teachers and other teachers teach them kind of different games and activities they can do outside for recess. We run a whole kind of, what's unique about you in the cafeteria, kind of celebrating our diversity. And then we also talk about DASA, bullying, and making sure we're using our words in a powerful way, in a good way, in the gym. So it's a really nice experience and something to break up the day. And then, of course, we always end with our costume parade. So lots of exciting things coming up, and we're ready.
D'Souza, is there a costume theme for the D'Souza family for this event?
So there has been much dinner table debate. In fact, just left the dinner table debate on what we need to be. There's a particular lady in our family that demands it be a theme, but I'm okay. Whatever she tells me to be, I will be. We haven't decided yet. I will let you know as soon as it's
We will be anxiously awaiting the result.
Oh, I'm sure you will.
All right, good evening, everyone. I'll start off with just a general update since we were here last a couple weeks ago. So September, we talked a lot about systems and routines and relationships, and I've laughed a couple times in the hallways this morning, just talking to teachers who kind of sound like they're sick, like they're coming down with a cold, and it's a good reminder that nobody's sick. There's just a lot of teacher talk in the first month of school to do it right. It's really setting the foundation for the year. But really my favorite part every day is being in the hallway and watching kind of that gradual release of responsibility. The first couple weeks you have teachers doing just about everything for students, especially kindergartners. It's their first exposure to school. And now we have teachers, even in kindergarten, that kind of stand out in the hallway. They say good morning, and they just kind of peek in, and most students kind of just follow their own checklist, and it's such a spectacular thing to see. So, couple things that were exciting last week. Our kindergartners, this is a bold field trip for kindergarten in the first month of school, but they went apple picking to Meadowbrook Farms. I didn't go, but if you looked at my office with how many apples are there, it looks like I went apple picking. Today we had a beautiful day for our walkaway drill. We went to the South Road Civic Center. Town of Poughkeepsie PD did a wonderful job. For the first time, we were followed the whole time by a drone. And I don't think the operator was as good as Mr. Cohen over there, but they're actually going to send us the video to see what the aerial looks like of 350 students going down the street, so that'll be interesting to see. Some things upcoming. One of the things we're excited about, and this really comes from some feedback that I've received from parents over the last few years. Some parents have reached out about after-school opportunities at the K2 level, and it's always, at a middle school level, every day you have multiple clubs. Hagen has a bunch of clubs. So always this question, is it appropriate for 5- and 6-year-olds to be staying after school? Is it too long of a day? But we're going to take a shot at it this year. So we have 3 clubs. One is the Nutty Scientist, which is going to start off with first graders. The second one is we're starting with second graders, and it's it's actually Marist College students, and it's a Spanish cultural club with the goal really to expose students to Spanish language and Hispanic culture. So we're excited about that. And then the last one, this is kind of one we're kind of following Hagen with. You know, you've heard frequently about the success of their running club, and we would like to kind of follow that lead and create kind of a feeder program. So we have two teachers, Brittany Bornstad, who's a first grade teacher, and Christina Howard, who's our OT. You saw her at the board walkthrough. We went into her room. So they're going to be heading that up. And then over the next couple weeks, we have picture day, we have the book fair, fire safety, and then, you know, usually Halloween feels like it lasts a couple weeks at the K2 level. We're actually consolidating it all into one day. So on the 31st, we're going to have our parade, the pumpkin run, all of our parties, and Halloween safety presentations by Officer Dowdy. So I think we're bold there, but we'll you'll have a full report after that happens. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, item 9.01, public comment on non-agenda items. Public comment on non-agenda items. Okay, 9.02, board correspondence. We did receive an email. It's a personnel matter, so we will not be discussing it at this evening's meeting. We also received an email about presidential signs on school property. For the public's knowledge, presidential signs will not be permitted on school property. They will be removed immediately, so don't bother wasting your time putting them there, please. We appreciate your cooperation with that. Okay, 10.01, comments from the board. Any comments from the board?
I've got a couple. One, the first Dutchess County School Board Association meeting of the new school year was last Thursday, October 3rd, so I attended that meeting. It was virtual, online. Highlight of the meeting was a presentation on the new pathways to graduation from Kim Fontana, who's the superintendent out of Pauling and a member of the Blue Ribbon Commission. So she gave a very informative report about the work of the commission, the whole process. It was a condensed version of what she said is typically as much as a 2-hour kind of overview of the whole process. She boiled it down though to its essentials and showed us a lot of details though at the same time, so it was very informative. She talked about the timeline as they move forward in publicizing and gathering comments on the proposed 4 transformations as she was describing them. There are 12 recommendations, but those are kind of housed within 4 broader transformations. So she showed all of that to us, and it was very helpful, very informative, plenty of detail. Timeline, as she described it, let's see here, is into November. Yeah, the implementation timeline into November, and Dr. Fanuele, I'm sure is familiar with this as well, but the timeline into November is that at some point in November, there will be a draft delivered from the Board of Regents to State Ed about the implementation sort of target dates, I guess, but it's still a ways off. But there's going to be a process of reviewing the recommendations, sharing them, thought exchange sessions. There are a number of them scheduled, 2 upcoming in November, one at Beacon on the 16th of November and one in Pauling on the 23rd of November, where there's a chance to both learn more in detail about the process and recommendations and get and give some feedback. So I can clarify those dates, confirm those dates rather, and publicize that if people are interested in attending. But very informative. That was, as I said, the highlight of the meeting. And we had some of the other typical things. We had a brief review of the resolutions for the upcoming NYSBA business meeting, but there wasn't too much discussion of those resolutions. But that's pending as well, and that's essentially my second comment, which is that I'll be attending the NYSBA business meeting, New York State School Board Association business meeting, Thursday of this week, the 10th, in 2 days. That is focused on voting on the resolutions that have been proposed. There are 25 resolutions that the Resolutions Committee has proposed for adoption, and 12 12 proposals rather that they are not recommending for adoption. So there'll be a review of and voting on those 37 resolutions at that meeting. It promises, at least Kelly Lapham indicated this, it promises to be a shorter meeting this year than it was last year, which was great news to everyone. It was 7 hours long last year, but I think it's going to be much more efficient. They've got a new process, I think, this year. And there are fewer resolutions actually this year, so that should help too.
Yeah, last year was a marathon.
Yeah, it sure was. So, yeah, so those are the two comments I wanted to share.
Thank you.
I don't know a lot. I just wanted to say homecoming looked like it was a lot of fun. The games were cool. There was a lot of good turnout for that. It looked great to see all of our community coming out for it, not just for the football, but for senior nights, for the soccer and the volleyball, and seeing cross country running around, all that. It's great seeing that and everybody coming out and supporting that. During the walkthrough, it's not going unnoticed that the new signs that are going up to make the buildings look, that just, whether it's the murals and paintings inside the schools or the new signs that went up on each one of the schools, or the, Nassau lettering that went up. I even saw Nassau sign getting painted this morning, and that was really cool to see that we stay up on top of that, keep the schools looking nice, and keeping them clean. It goes a long way, and it does get noticed. And a big thank you to the staff and the teachers who take their time to, even just decorating for these seasons, whether it's one classroom has a changing tree all year long, it seems to change, but, the decorations around the hallways or in your classrooms, I know a lot of that comes out of their own pockets to do that, so I'm very appreciative that everybody puts in that time to do that, so please pass along our thanks for that.
All right, thank you. I'll have to echo that. It was a great walkthrough. Appreciate the administration and teachers welcoming us, and I agree. I mean, it's just such a great sense of community and pride when you see the decorations and all the signage, and keeping our buildings looking very nice and welcoming. So loved being a part of that. Appreciate it very much, and thank you to Richard for taking additional time for Dutchess County School Board Association, and also for the NYSBA voting delegate. Appreciate that. And with that, turn that over to 10.02, comments from our superintendent.
My main comment was going today to be to celebrate School Board Recognition Week. We're down 2 board members, so we'll keep it light, and we'll discuss it at our next board meeting, right? We'll have some things to celebrate with. But I just want to read something. I think I read this every year, but this is just kind of talks about school boards. Boards of education guide their local school systems and ensure public schools are flexible and responsive to the needs of the community. They are comprised of volunteers, right? You volunteer your service, which is amazing, because there's many meetings and correspondence and all kinds of things that occupy time. They are individuals within the community who dedicate their time to improving public education. And just want to reiterate some of that stuff, because I always say, what's our most important resources is our children, right? And to be on a volunteer board is a great thing to do. There's many of them, but to be on a volunteer board that volunteers for children is the best. So I thank you. And I do have a number here. It says school board members statewide collectively oversee nearly 2.5 million K-12 students. So I guess I'll thank all boards of ed, but especially this one. So thank you, and we will look to celebrate when we're all here. And then I'll just close by echoing what was already said. Jeff started us off, and Dan talked about it, but the high school pep rally weekend and homecoming was just a great community event, you know, like what you said, you know. There was a couple football games going on at the game, you know, there was the actual one, and then there were some youngsters running around having a good time. And it just was nice. The pep rally was nice. We were able to, our cheerleaders in the school was able to celebrate, you know, our 160th anniversary a little bit, and we got some drone footage courtesy of Mr. Cohen. So we hope to see that, you know, when we put all this together. But it just was exciting, you know, and it's cool, and the weather has cooperated, you know, greatly with our beginning of the year, and you know, just looking for even more, right? More to come. So that's all.
All right, thank you for that. That'll bring us to 12.01. And ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye, passes 3-0. Thank you, we'll see you next time.